Two Geeks, Two Beers podcast. Nerdy obsessions, drunken ramblings with Morgan Jeffrey and Tom Eames.
Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Two Geeks, Two Beers, the podcast that compensates for its generic name by tackling increasingly niche subject matter. I'm Morgan, and here with me as we prepare to sink our teeth into another cult classic is Tom.
Hello.
Tom, how you doing?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed your birthday the other day.
Yeah. If you spotted a late night post
At 10 o'clock.
on the Two Geeks, Two Beers social channels, it's because Tom forgot it was my birthday. It's fine. I've got over it. We're back here. We're back in the studio. It's fine.
Yeah.
I've forgiven him.
Yeah. You interviewed a very special person the other day.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Yes. A Two Geeks, Two Beers hero. I spoke to Mr. Russell Crowe.
Our longest episode of all time. By some distance.
Not by design.
Did you tell him that?
Yeah. The first thing I said. Russell, a host, a niche geek podcast.
Yeah.
We've produced hundreds of episodes, but by far our most epic,
For some reason.
in both length and subject matter, concerned your career.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, thanks a lot, mate." No, it didn't come up, sadly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a life moment, very exciting. What was also really exciting for me, Tom,
Yes.
was hearing that you had watched Doctor Who.
I did.
You sat down and watched a Doctor Who
Yeah.
special. How was that? How was that for you? Having no concept or clue of what was going on.
It was totally wasted on me. Because I could appreciate that there was some kind of, old companions and people coming back.
Yeah.
Totally wasted.
Yeah.
No. And that wasn't just me drinking. That was it was just wasted on me.
Nice. Yeah.
But do you know what?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun for the whole family.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a Patreon subscriber, after not right now, because listen to this. Stick with this right now. Yeah, give it a chance. All right, it's early doors. But after this, head to patreon.com/2geekscast. I just pulled that off. I was for a second there. I was like, I'm not going to remember.
What is it called?
I'm not going to remember the URL.
Yeah.
No, that's what it is. Patreon.com/2geekscast. And we'll have a mini-sode where I don't rank the Doctors because I actually know what I'm talking about. Tom's going to rank the Doctors.
Considering I've never really watched it, I'm going to rank the Doctor Who's.
It's going to be quite an experience. It's going to be the kind of thing that if you're not already a Patreon subscriber, it's going to be the kind of thing you'll want to pay for. You'll be like, well, I wasn't paying before, but now I've heard that's happening.
Alienate all our audience.
Yeah.
What there is of it.
So, this time around, the subject matter for our geek patter is Ultraviolet.
Yeah.
Just in time for spooky season. So, Tom, do you have any concept of what I'm talking about?
No.
No.
All I can think of is Ultraviolet. Or like...
What's that?
Clockwork Orange.
Oh, I've never seen it.
No, you've never seen it?
Never seen it.
So when I'm seeing this, I'm like, Ultraviolet.
Ultraviolence.
Yeah.
No idea. All I know is I saw you tweet about it. It was a photo, and what's his face was on it.
Oh. Jack Davenport?
That's the one.
Yeah. He's in it.
That's all I know.
Bit of a spoiler.
So, good.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's...
Bit niche, but...
intentionally.
Yeah.
I'll explain why it's so niche. Like, we'll get onto it.
And it's a bit Halloween-y, I assume?
Yeah, that again, long-time listeners will appreciate the fact that was purely by luck.
Okay.
Not by design.
Yeah.
The fact that this is a bit of a spooky theme.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spooky because of how bad it is, or just...
No, it's great.
Oh, okay.
It's great.
Okay.
So, beloved by its fans, but a show that perhaps doesn't have the legacy that it deserves.
Classic.
This one is a hidden gem, which will surely do wonders for this episode's download figures. So coming up, why the show's original premise ended up flipped on its head, how one of the cast is directly related to the most famous vampire story of them all, why a second season never happened, and why a reboot or revival could still be on the cards 24 years later.
Well done for having 4 options in the coming up. I struggle with 3 when I'm doing mine, so 4 is amazing.
There's not enough content in an average Two Geeks episode. So I thought I had to do 4. If I'd known, I could have got away with 3.
3 is the magic number.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Next time. I'll know for next time. So Ultraviolet ran for a single series of 6 episodes on Channel 4 in the autumn of 1998, from 15th of September to the 20th of October.
Yeah, no recollection. Absolutely no recollection.
It was, which means it has no legacy.
No legacy at all, because I don't know about it. So I was 12 years old at this point.
Yep, I was 11. I'm slightly younger.
And you watched it at the time?
Not at the time.
Oh, okay.
No. I heard good things. And
as an 11-year-old, just sitting there going, I've heard good things. Gonna tune into this in a few years' time.
Yes. Not later. I heard good things. I wasn't as an 11-year-old being like, I'm enjoying this supernatural thriller. What I really like about it is the psychological aspect. Not so much. I'm not that much of a wanker.
Okay.
So the show was created by Joe Ahern, who also wrote and directed all 6 episodes, something which arguably benefited the show at the time, but may have harmed its fortunes in the long run, which we'll come back to. So prior to creating Ultraviolet, Ahern had written and directed for BBC Two's Cool Britannia sexy lawyers show, This Life.
Yes, which I never really watched.
Never seen it.
But I know I'd probably like it.
And I know we hate it when other people say this, but it was a little bit before our time. That doesn't mean
us to appreciate it at the time.
That doesn't mean we can't go back and watch it now.
I'm sure
doesn't
we
mean
will.
we don't know what it is.
No.
We know what it is.
Yeah.
It was definitely a cultural moment, I think, at the time it was aired, which we slightly missed.
Yeah.
So in the years since Ultraviolet aired in 1998, Joe Ahern has also directed episodes, including the pilot of the BBC One fantasy horror Strange, starring Richard Coyle as a rogue priest on a mission to vanquish demons.
That appeared in our
Doctor Who fill-ins episode way back. Yeah, not as good as it sounds, if I'm being honest.
Should have stayed in coupling. Should he?
Should have.
Yeah.
Joe Ahern also directed 5 episodes, 5 of the best episodes, I would say, of the 2005 revival series of Doctor Who, earning a BAFTA nomination for helming the episodes Dalek, Father's Day, Boomtown, and the 2-part finale of that series, Bad Wolf and The Parting of the Ways.
Did you say Boomtown?
Boomtown.
Was it an episode of Doctor Who?
Called Boomtown.
All right.
What's your problem?
What was that about?
It's you remember Aunt Babe from EastEnders?
Yeah.
She's an alien, but in Wales.
And that's the plot, is it?
That is the plot.
Okay.
Yeah. Joe Ahern also wrote and directed another supernatural series for the BBC, Apparitions, in 2008, starring Martin Shaw as a priest battling the forces of evil.
It's a theme.
There's a theme. It's definitely a theme developing here. Ahern had been intrigued by vampires from an early age, having grown up watching Hammer horror movies, including the Dracula films, starring Christopher Lee as the Count Christopher Lee. Keen to come up with a television series, but wanting to deliver something different from a regular cop show, Ahern came up with a pitch for a show following a vampire detective. However, this idea was scrapped because he realised that all scenes featuring the lead character would need to be filmed at night, meaning endless night shoots, which would prove difficult and prohibitively expensive. So Ahern flipped his original idea to instead make his lead character a human detective investigating a vampire threat.
And this was the era of Buffy helped the whole vampire.
Well,
yeah.
This was 90. So when he was conceiving of this was sort of mid to late 90s. This was pre-Buffy.
Was it?
So it was pure coincidence that there was sort of a bit of a vampire craze on the horizon. It eventually aired the year after Buffy started, but the two shows were being developed in tandem. Yeah. No one knew. No. Ultraviolet also evolved from Ahern's early drafts to be less action-based and to become more of a psychological supernatural thriller, though Ahern later said, "My ulterior motive was running around with guns shooting at vampires, but I couldn't say that out loud. I had to pretend it was a tale of millennial angst."
Inspired by Blade, potentially, that sort of thing?
Blade was 98 as well.
Yeah.
Why was everyone... One era for vampires. Yeah. Why, though?
A full 10 years before Twilight and True Blood and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But I've never really thought about it before. Yeah, the late 90s.
Yeah.
Great time. Great time for vampires. So Ultraviolet, despite the 90s haircuts and mobile phones the size of your head, is set in the near future, with vampires having emerged from the shadows in which they lurked for so many years in an effort to retake the Earth. The show attempted to present a realistic portrayal of vampires, so the word vampire is never spoken.
Okay.
The creatures were instead referred to as Code 5's, which was based on, obviously, the Roman numeral for 5 is...
V.
Well done.
Think about that one.
There was a moment of panic in his eyes then. Which is also the first letter, of course, in...
Vampire.
Here we go. He got there.
Genuine panic.
Genuine
I'm
panic.
like, shit, he's put me on the spot.
The creatures were also known, as Code 5s or by the slang term leeches. Very much the latter term sort of zombie rule these days, where zombie movies, zombie TV shows like The Walking Dead, they never actually say
Walker.
the word
Yeah.
zombie.
Look out! Rotters! I'm gonna kill every last Z person there is. Place is overrun by psychos. Starvation doesn't kill us, roamers will. They're just roaming around up there. Who's ready to slaughter some brats? With a Z. The whole thing is overrun by knick-knack paddywhackers. What are those things? They're runners. Well, why do you call them that? Because they run. It seems like the most logical thing to call them. A pack of crunchy munchers to prolong life. By nightfall, the flesh feasters will come.
Flesh
Candy
feasters.
corn, 12 o'clock. Going north is a lost cause. It's a monster mash up there. A graveyard smash, if you will. Call them bobbies. It's the name of our stepdad. It's metaphorical. Because this is an indie zombie flick. Can't cross the bridge, there's too many squids. Let's kill some frogs. Too many crickets out there. There was 2 giraffes in the grocery store, but we got them. A pack of creepers ate my entire family. There's too many freakers. Scallywags are coming. There's too many screamers. A group of hotties took my dad. There's too many lil bitches, we can't take them all.
If you enjoyed that, go follow Johnny Birchtold. That's BERCHTOLD on Twitter. Vampires in Ultraviolet are depicted as ageless and immortal and are stronger and faster than normal humans. But they lack most of the supernatural powers attributed to them in folklore, such as turning into bats, mist, or wolves.
Mist.
I'd never heard of mist. I got that off Wikipedia. Never heard of mist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess it's, that kind of thing where they draw the cloak across and just vanish into mist.
Yeah.
So the series itself follows Mike Caulfield, a police detective sergeant and best friend to fellow officer Jack. When Jack goes missing the night before his wedding, Michael's investigation leads him to cross paths with a secret paramilitary vampire hunting organization supported by the British government and the Vatican.
Whoa.
That took a turn. Michael discovers that Jack has become a vampire and is forced to kill his friend to save his own life. Michael joins the vampire hunting organization but finds himself morally conflicted, opposed to the unit's brutal methods and frequently at odds with security lead Vaughn Rice. So let's talk about the cast.
Okay.
So playing Michael Caulfield, it's Jack Davenport.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
My boy. Yeah.
So
is this after coupling?
Well, no. So this is only his second lead television role. After This Life, this is a pre-coupling Davenport.
Right.
Yeah. So though he'd written the script for the Ultraviolet pilot, which
Ultraviolet. Yeah.
it's hard to say after a few beers. Joe Ahern had written the script for the Ultraviolet pilot before working.
The Ultraviolet pilot.
The Ultraviolet pilot.
Yeah.
Before working on This Life, Ahern thought that Davenport had all the right qualities to play Michael when he met him and worked with him on This Life. When they met, he thought he was perfect for the role. He said he was charismatic and unflappable.
What was it for the Watson? Capable. That was it. Capable.
What Watson has to be capable.
Yeah.
Jack Davenport.
He's unflappable.
Jack Davenport.
He's very much an unflappable actor.
Unflappable man. Yeah. Unflappable. I've never been described as unflappable.
No.
I'm
very flappable.
I'm very flappable. I'm very flappy. I'm struggling to even say unflappable, if I'm honest.
Again, we did have... What did we drink before we came on? We had
a lager,
a Guinness and...
a double whiskey.
Oh, double whiskey, yeah.
Yeah.
Dreadful idea. Anyway, Karen.
So over the course of the series, Michael must balance his new secret life, working for the vampire hunting organization, of course, with his personal commitments, including a complicated relationship with his best friend Jack's fiancée, Kirsty.
Oh, dear.
Played by,
Here we go.
Dishy Davenport.
Here we go.
We all know what to expect. Davenport's here. We all know what's going to happen.
Davers.
So Michael has a complicated relationship with his best friend Jack's fiancée Kirsty, played by Colette Brown, who is unaware of what happened to Jack or indeed the part that Michael plays in it.
This is a bit of a Pearl Harbour situation.
Well, if you're thinking about all-time classic love triangles featuring Jack Davenport, surely Pirates of the Caribbean is your reference point.
True, but in Pearl Harbour, where Ben Affleck's gone off and they think he's gone, and then Josh Hartnett is now cracking on with Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Essentially the same plot.
Exactly the same, but with vampires. It's Pearl Harbour with vampires. Pearl Harbour with vampires. What?
Sold.
I feel like you could sell that to Michael Bay. If you said Michael, Pearl Harbour with vampires, you'd be like, great, where do I sign? Playing Dr. Angela Marsh, the team's resident doctor and lead scientist, Susanna Harker. So Angie, as she's known, became involved in the organization when her husband, Robert, a prominent medical researcher, was himself recruited into the organization, only to be later forced to kill himself and one of their daughters to prevent their conversion into vampires. Angie, said Harker, is frozen in time in arrested development since the love of her life was taken away.
Doesn't really translate to audio.
Let's start talking in a minute, don't worry. It's a great clip.
I do know how you feel.
What if it's not treated?
Heals over in minutes. Most people don't even know they've been infected. It makes you very susceptible to suggestion. They don't need to dirty their hands much. They get us to do it for them.
So what have we got? Where's all the crosses?
Holy water. Jury's out on that. It's a bit like homeopathy. It's a question of faith on both sides. They can be superstitious too. In my opinion, religion is a placebo, which isn't to say placebos can't work.
Why's all this kept quiet? I mean, the body turns out drained.
It doesn't happen. Successful parasites don't kill their host. They don't drain their prey unless they want to recruit, and they're very careful about who they recruit. Like we are.
I feel like this is a rogue choice from Jack Davenport. He's never done anything like this since. I love that he did it, but playing a guy, detective, hunting vampires.
Great.
It's not very Davenport, but I love that he did it. Although, he was part of the cast of Flash Forward, of course.
Yeah, I mean, you can't forget that.
No.
I mean,
I really can't. I've tried.
And she reminds me of, is it Alison Mack? The one that got in trouble for various things, but she looks a bit, I'm pretty sure she was in the Pride and Prejudice.
She was? Good. So, Susanna Harker was previously best known for playing journalist Mattie Storen in the original BBC version of House of Cards and for playing Jane Bennett in the 1995 TV adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. Here we go. Yeah. Now we're on comfortable ground for you.
90s rom-com. Can you call Pride and Prejudice a rom-com?
Yeah,
I guess it is.
It's the original rom-com.
It's the OG rom-com.
It's the GOAT. So, Harker had previously worked with Ultraviolet creator Joe Ahern on the 1997 short film The Cull, and said of Ultraviolet, I did have to go and meet for it and test with other actors, but I was working with him when he was developing it, so I kind of segued in.
She knew it was it. She knew.
Yeah. She knew she had it.
I always say segued. Segued, isn't it?
I used to think it was segued.
It is segued, isn't it?
But confusingly, those things you write about that like George Bush rode off a cliff, or almost, I think that is genuinely spelled Segway.
Yeah.
So.
Very confusing.
Very confusing. Yeah. Especially after a few beers and a whiskey. Susanna Harker is also the No. Susanna Harker is also the great-great-granddaughter of Joseph Harker, an artist and theatrical scene designer who was employed at the Lyceum Theatre in London at the time it was managed by Bram Stoker.
Got it.
Who went on to name a character after Joseph in his novel Dracula. Jonathan Harker is named after Susanna Harker's great-great-grandfather. So vampires were quite literally in her blood.
That is an amazing fact.
That's a good fact. That is like a singular fact smash. Fact smash. Fact smash.
Also, gotta say, I didn't know Bram Stoker was a real person.
Right. There's two things I want to pick up on there. One, what do you mean you didn't know Bram Stoker was a real person?
I did.
Secondly, you called him Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker.
Stoker. I genuinely thought it was like I don't know, just make-believe.
Who do you think wrote Dracula?
I don't know. I thought Bram Stoker was like, Lemony Snicket. Is Lemony Snicket a real person?
No.
No, I thought it was that sort of situation.
There's one guy like writing it under the pen name of Lemony Snicket.
I thought.
Did you think it was just too cool a name?
Yeah.
Even though you thought he was called Bram Stoker.
It's like my dad still won't believe me when I say that Colonel Sanders was a real person.
I know what he's talking about there because that is such a ridiculous. Because
he was like, well, no, it's not. No, it absolutely was.
But I sympathise with your dad because now they sort of pit Colonel Sanders against Ronald McDonald, who, unless I'm very much mistaken, is not a real person.
He's not a real person.
And they're like the icons of fast food chains. And so it's like, he's a real guy, this ridiculous man with his ridiculous beard and his ridiculous suit.
Yeah, no, real guy. Yeah.
But Bram Stoker.
I thought it was Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker.
Bam Stoker is a better name.
Bam.
Like Bam Margera. But Bam Stoker. So Bram Stoker. It's hard to say.
I prefer Bam
Stoker is much easier to say.
Bam Stoker.
Bram. So Bam. Is it Bram?
No, Bram.
Bram. Like Brum, but Bram.
Like the car Brum, but Bram.
Bram.
Like Abraham.
Stoker. That's far harder to say than Bram Stoker.
I can't say that, mate.
Stoker.
Change your name. Stoker. Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
all right.
Not as good, but fine.
Fine, I'll fucking say it. Jesus.
If that's what it is. I mean, if that's what he wants to call himself, I mean, fine. But,
Bam Stoker is...
Bam Stoker. Bam Stoker's far better.
Bam Stoker is the porn star version of Bram Stoker. Even I can't do it now. Bram Stoker. You've ruined it forever.
Bram Stoker. Far harder to say. Rubbish name. Anyway, carry on.
So next up, in the cast list of Ultraviolet, we have Vaughn Rice, the organization's main security lead, who is struggling with PTSD after his time as a soldier in the Gulf War, which has left him with a ruthless edge when it comes to tackling leeches.
You weren't there, man.
You don't know. This was an early screen role for Idris Elba. Post-Family Affairs, but 4 years before his breakthrough role as Stringer Bell, of course, in The Wire.
Wow, amazing.
What did she say about Robert?
Driss just swigging the brandy.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Is that you or Pierce?
I left him at work.
I don't have that luxury.
She said you could have him back.
What did you say?
I said what I always say. When you're dead, you're dead. I'd like my old mates back, but that's not going to happen. I told her she was wasting her time. Why should I live in? She's just got to move on.
So,
and again, I feel like Idris there was probably, like 25?
Yeah.
More of a man than I'll ever be.
A proper man.
Yeah.
He's killing vampires. He's swigging brandy. He's having a great
I'll
time.
never get to that point. I feel like I sort of live my life going, at some point, I'll wear like a suit and a shirt to work and I'll get home and I'll
have a briefcase.
I'll have a briefcase. I'll have a brandy.
Yeah.
You know what I've never had?
Yeah.
You know when you see people, guys, where they have the sort of suit jacket and then the jacket. Do you know what I mean? No, never done that in my life.
No.
I don't know if I ever will. And it's like, when will I get to a point where I go, oh, I'm there now?
I don't think...
A good 30 years after I was meant to.
I don't think we'll ever be as cool as Idris Elba.
No, I mean, that's a given. I mean,
most people aren't meant to be.
No, I mean, he's a level above man.
Yeah, he's a god.
Yeah.
So, this show, again, Vampire Slayer, Idris Elba, it's just one more skill set that can be added to Elba's illustrious CV. But I don't know if you're familiar, Tom, with the sketch show Famalam.
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
You're aware of it. Just ruined Idris Elba for me with its sketch. Idris Elba can do anything.
Okay.
Bitch, Idris Elba.
Already funny.
Idris Elba.
Whenever I hear his name, I'm like, bitch, Idris Elba.
Maurice the Wanted.
Right.
I'm your man.
Okay, and how much experience do you have as a...
None at all.
Well, what makes you think that you can be a very...
We're wasting time here, Mr. Coffee Shop.
Annoyed.
I'll tell you why I know. I'm an excellent barista. I'm Idris Elba. I'm an actor, writer, director, DJ, influencer, producer, rapper, comedian, kickboxer. So I'm pretty sure I can make little frothy coffees, all right? You be the customer, I'll be Idris Elba. Bitch, I'm Idris Elba.
But you probably could just walk up anywhere and just do whatever you want. Yeah.
It's not even a comedy.
No.
It's a documentary.
Drink it!
Kind of tastes like coffee.
Exactly. Now fuck off and you make me some banana bread.
Why has Idris Elba never done Guy Ritchie?
What's this all about then?
Sorry, how did you get in here?
I'm Idris Elba. I goes where I goes.
Well, this is a cancer research centre. We're trying to cure cancer.
Trying? Move over then.
Fine.
That's fucking shit.
Sorry.
Trying. That's fucking shit. Great.
Great guy.
So completing the lead cast of Ultraviolet was Philip Quast as Pierce J. Harmon, the leader of the organisation and a former priest. Why are you looking at me funny?
I've just never heard of Philip Quast's work, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
You'll be familiar with Quast's oeuvre.
Okay.
So again, in an effort to tackle how vampirism might impact real life events, in the series, Harmon is diagnosed with terminal cancer and becomes desperate to learn the secrets of vampire regeneration.
Thanks, Father, I've got a job.
Davenport just looks annoyed every time he's in a scene.
Sorry, I don't think I've got what it takes.
His best mate's just died, and he fancies his fiancée, but he can't do anything about it.
That was self-defense, not a career move.
And the rest of society? Who defends them?
Look, am I under arrest or what?
Why did you join the police? Was it to help others or just yourself?
Yeah, I joined the police, not the army.
All right, geez.
Plenty of Vaughns around, recruit them.
Actually, there aren't. In any case, I need investigators, not soldiers.
I didn't see a lot of investigating going on.
Well, that's why we need people like you.
Well, I don't need people like you.
Sassy from Davenport.
Yeah. You can't appreciate it over audio so much, but both Idris and Jack have this air of, what the fuck are we doing in this programme? Like, the
good programme.
I know, but both of their acting here is like, I'm doing this as a favour. I'm better than this. I don't need to be... Why am I here? What's this? I could be in coupling right now. Ridiculous.
It's outrageous. So outside of Ultraviolet...
It's their fault for acting like that.
Yeah. Outside of Ultraviolet, Philip Quast is perhaps best known for his role as Inspector Javert in the stage musical Les Miserables, and is often hailed as the greatest Javert there's been.
Amazing.
I've hunted vampires across the years. You get it. So now that you
stole some garlic.
All I did was steal some garlic.
Garlic bread.
Yeah, of course, he stole garlic bread. Oh, niche. You thought it couldn't get any more niche.
Do you like obscure vampire shows in the 90s and Les Mis? You're in the right place.
Then for all five of you, this is the podcast. So now you're fully briefed on the concept, the cast. Let's have a look at the trailer for Ultraviolet, how it was promoted on Channel 4 at the time, at last.
Is that what I think it is?
Who's the father?
Her husband's 6 foot under.
What if she stays pregnant?
There are worse things than being taken.
Have you ever performed a termination?
Have you ever sanctioned one?
This isn't human.
You know.
Ultraviolet, Tuesday, 10 p.m.
I mean, not the best trailer of all time, but, that'll do.
I wanted to give you a sense of how it was promoted and maybe why it didn't come back.
Yeah, maybe didn't really try, did they?
Maybe because the trailers weren't very good.
It's like, there's a show on Channel 4, just don't worry about it.
Just watch it.
If you can watch it, great, but don't worry about it. Yeah. It's going to get cancelled afterwards. Idris Elba's going to be in the wire in 10 minutes.
Well, think of, that
I mean,
It's
imagine
it's
if Ultraviolet ran for 9 series. You would never have been in the wire.
It's not a T-junction. What am I thinking of? A fork in the road. That's what I'm trying to say, a fork in the road.
Yeah.
T-junction is something entirely different. If Ultraviolet had run for 9 seasons, no coupling.
No wire.
No stringer bell.
Yeah.
I mean,
the
probably
wire
still would have had the wire.
Yeah.
I don't know. Philip Cross would have had to like cut short his run on Broadway. I don't know. But it would have been bad.
Yeah.
One final cast member worth flagging up, recurring in the first and last episodes of Ultraviolet as Jack. You mentioned his most famous show earlier, Stephen Moyer.
Ah,
Yeah.
True Blood. Amazing.
10 years before he would achieve global stardom for playing another vampire, Bill Compton, in HBO's True Blood. And it's fair to say that while many aspects of Ultraviolet still hold up, the performances, the gritty tone, the scientific approach to vampires, what perhaps dates it the most is Stephen Moyer's haircut.
Okay. Interesting. I'm going to translate to audio, is it?
Your reaction, Will.
Okay. Oh, no.
Flock of seagulls.
Oh, no. I ran so far away. Oh, no. When was this set? Like, present day?
Filmed in 98, set in the near future.
But he was a vampire from years and years ago, I assume.
No, that was his hair in 1998. He's only just been turned.
Oh, no.
Blimey. Didn't take you long to sign up. Pension good, is it? Don't give me the silent treatment.
Oh, dear.
Can we at least have a civilized conversation?
What a wetty. He's really like hot and sexy in True Blood. What a glow up he had.
He definitely had a glow up.
What did they say to wipe away 10 years?
Saw him on the tube once, Stephen Moyer.
You did, yeah.
Wow. I think they had to give him that hair to make Davenport the sexy one.
Are you saying Davenport needed help?
15 for corruption.
How dare you?
How dare you? Davers.
Or I could go all the way.
Did you know what they were into when you were taking their money?
Well, they don't exactly advertise it, and I can see why now. People go a bit funny. People you thought...
You can't really appreciate it and just order. You have to... Well, I have to put this clip somewhere because you can't appreciate just how...
It's the way Stephen Moyer's hair is billowing in the wind.
We don't have to kill to get it.
Then what's the money for?
They want to wipe us out. So we had to get organised. That takes money.
This is only... I suppose it's a good 10 years of
10 years.
Self-defence, is it?
I said that before. Have you been...
Yeah. But Davenport looks the same. Whereas...
Stay there.
We know it's got Vatican money. The Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith, I think they call it now. They changed the name. Used to be the Inquisition.
So across Ultraviolet's 6-episode run, Michael hopes to avoid all-out war, but the vampires are organised, moving towards a common goal, with their true agenda only being revealed in the 6th and final episode.
Bum bum.
Do you know where Jack is?
Yeah, like I'm going to tell you.
Still annoyed he's in it.
We're all on the same side. You must know by now what we're dealing with.
No, I know what you think you're dealing with. I can't help that.
You believe Jack is still your friend?
Well, whatever he's done, he doesn't deserve a death sentence.
I'm afraid that was carried out 3 nights ago. Before you last met.
I'll tell you what, shall I just I'll just sit here and nod, shall I? Is that going to speed things up?
We can't make you believe.
It's all right.
Only they can do that. If you survive the experience, we'll talk again.
So, as mentioned, the show takes a scientific, often medical approach to vampirism. Cases that the organisation become involved with across the series include a woman who may be pregnant with a vampire fetus, the outbreak of a disease related to vampirism as well, that also crops up. The vampire hunting squad also use modern versions of traditional anti-vampire weapons. So instead of wooden stakes, they use carbon bullets. They also use gas grenades with a concentrated compound derived from garlic. Vampires are also seen to be invisible to electronic devices, a nod to the old myth that vampires don't appear in mirrors.
So like you were saying earlier, that they don't ever want to say the word vampire. Is this in a world where vampires weren't like a fictional... Do you know what I mean? Because they can't say the word vampire.
I presume vampires... Well, no, because they're like... Davenport there, he's like, I know what you think they are. Of course, not vampires.
Right.
But it's just
Okay.
they just say vampires because it's silly.
It's like
Silly.
it's like the word vampire is owned by copyright by some Disney or whatever. And they're
Yeah.
like, you can't say it, but
Maybe the estate of Bram Stoker owns.
Bram Stoker. It does sound like a porn star name, doesn't it?
More you think about it. Maybe they own the word. So as Joe Ahern pitched the series, what if they, vampires, really did exist? How would we fight them? Science would be the weapon, not superstition. Steaks and garlic do work, but it's the chemicals inside. Daylight kills them because it's ultraviolet. There you go. Radiation that they can't withstand. Religion is uncertain and no defense. The vampires have their own technology too, cars with tinted windows. So if you ever see a car with a tinted window,
It's a vampire.
that's actually what's going on. High-tech caskets for transatlantic transport. And as quickly as we design countermeasures like laser treatment for bite wounds, they're developing ways of infecting us that don't even involve biting. The myth ceases to become about one vampire being hunted. This is a war.
Jesus. How long has this outfit been running?
This modest collection represents about 7 years' work. The tip of an iceberg, I'd say.
Who knows about this? I mean, who's paying? The Pope?
The church doesn't like to talk about evil these days, no. You're paying. We're all paying.
You've got full government backing for this.
Why not? It's a public health issue. A defense issue.
Can't you at least let his family have him?
I'm afraid not.
Well, he's dead now, isn't he?
Neutralized.
They can regenerate. We just don't know how. Until we do, all these specimens are viable.
It's a prison, not a cemetery.
You're not the only one. We've all lost someone.
That's why we're here. It's called a vocation.
Yeah, vendetta and all that.
These aren't isolated cases. They're organizing for a reason.
And what for? They don't want to wipe us out. They need us.
Exactly.
So what's changed?
Our capacity for self-destruction. It grows at an exponential rate. You're right, of course. They don't mean us any harm. They want to save us.
It doesn't sound so bad.
And the only way they can save us is by controlling us. If people like you don't take a stand now, do you know where your loved ones are going to be in 50 years' time? Battery farms. Believe me, our free-range days are over.
But, plot twist, the final episode of Ultraviolet reveals that the vampires' plan does not involve enslaving humanity and keeping them alive, as the team believed. Instead, they plan to completely wipe out the threat of humanity with a nuclear winter. Scientific advances... Oh, fuck. Tommy's shook. Scientific advances made during their experiments will allow them to survive on synthetic blood and reproduce via live birth, eliminating the need for human victims. The final episode also finally sees Kirsty learn the truth about Michael's secret life, about vampires, and about what happened to Jack. So having been killed by Michael in the first episode, Jack is resurrected in the final episode, apparently setting up a recurring role in a second season that, as we know, never happened.
Ah, well.
Seems like I owe you one. Don't worry, I'll leave her alone.
There he is.
Well, let's keep in touch, yeah?
And that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
So why did Ultraviolet never return for a second series? So
I watched it.
No, actually.
Oh.
Did all right.
Yeah.
But there are a few factors. One is that Joe Ahern never intended to write and direct all 6 episodes. So scripts from other writers were commissioned, but it was felt that they couldn't quite match what Ahern had produced. And so he was busy developing the first series. He wasn't able to outline a second series in time to get the green light. Actors got booked up. Time's moved on. But Ahern also...
Buffy had arrived.
Buffy had arrived. But you think, if anything, that would give it a boost. They'd be like, look, we got a vampire show. We got one right here. But Ahern also said that he had partly always intended for Ultraviolet to be a closed-ended series. He said, I fought really hard in Ultraviolet to have the 6 episodes as something which had a definite conclusion. At the end of 6 episodes, you find out categorically what the vampires are up to, and that's it. So at the end, you find out that they want to wipe out humanity and create a nuclear winter. And once you've decided that, I don't think personally you can go on for another 3 or 4 seasons exploring that. I didn't want it to go on and on. Do you really need another 100 episodes exploring that? The more hours you do, the more impossible it is to reach a conclusion that satisfies all those hours. In that case, why the little tease at the end? Moyer's back. He says, I'll see you around. What's going on there? According to Ahern, he said that was done largely just to keep the option open.
Just in case.
Yeah, just
you never know.
Playing it safe.
Yeah.
He said, I didn't want to completely close it off because I think the point is that nobody knew. Nobody knew if it would be successful or not. You don't want to say definitely there will never be any more. You want to give the possibility. One more factor which might have prevented a season 2 of Ultraviolet, according to Ahern, is that Channel 4 simply might not have wanted one. Whether he had the time to develop the stories himself or not. He said, if Channel 4 had said, we think this is great and it's got real potential to go on and be a franchise, to be an ongoing thing, maybe we would have sat down and come up with ideas for more that I might not necessarily have been involved in or whatever. But as far as I know, that never happened. However, that wasn't the end of Ultraviolet. It wasn't entirely the end. In 2000, 2 years on from transmission of the original series, the Fox network in the US developed a remake of the series starring Eric Tahl.
Who?
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
As the lead character, Detective John Cahill. Also part of the cast were Twin Peaks star Madchen Amick and Idris Elba.
Really?
Idris Elba. He was in it, reprising his role from the British
Same
series.
character. He did a Robert Llewellyn.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Same thing. American accent.
Great. Oh, he's got an American accent now. Oh.
Well, he's American in this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But the American remake of Ultraviolet was not very good.
Didn't see that coming.
I like this guy. They're like, right, what does he need to play Davenport's character? Floppy fringe?
Floppy hair, yeah.
He's got it. Hire this guy.
Just get Jack Davenport back.
Who are you people?
I'm not sure Jack Davenport's capable of being anything but devastatingly British.
That's true.
You can't murder something if it isn't alive. You saw Brian Laux in his hospital bed. Spinal cord severed. He was never going to walk again.
But he did.
He wasn't human. They look human, but they're not.
Why does this look older than the
It does,
original?
doesn't it?
They don't show
It feels like it came out in 1987 or something.
Or in mirrors. They're extremely sensitive to sunlight, ultraviolet.
Again, they're just standing there going, what am I doing here?
Right. I didn't agree with you the first time you said that.
Yeah.
In this, definitely.
Yeah.
He's like, because imagine like having done something like Ultraviolet and then you're in like a clearly much worse version.
Yeah.
You're just going,
Do you think he moved to America at this point and he was just
hedging his bets?
Yeah.
And they've gotten to Vigo too.
Yeah, I'm bored.
That was the ad. It cut to an ad break, happily enough. I don't know how much of that you got to appreciate over us talking over it, but rest assured it was terrible. It's all on YouTube if you want to watch it. The US Ultraviolet pilot, again, very hard to say, did not lead to a series and in fact was never even aired.
Oh.
Never broadcast. Howard Gordon, one of the producers contracted to develop the series, now best known for his work as a writer-producer on 24 and Homeland, said he loved the original series, but frankly, we screwed it up. And it, meaning the remake, just didn't come out that well. So, after that misfire, is Ultraviolet finally dead and buried? Well, perhaps not. Why are you annoyed?
Kill it with a steak. Just.
So, I don't know why you're taking against it, though. So, according to Joe Ahern, every few years, a broadcaster or a streamer flirts with it and they commission a bit of work and then decide not to make it.
Do they?
That's what he claims.
Do they actually?
So,
guys, we need new material. What should we do? Oh yeah, do you remember that 1998 series called Ultraviolet? Every few years we look about it and just sort of think, maybe we bring it back.
We are like, literally, I saw a news story today that said they're making a TV spin-off of the Seth Rogen animation Sausage Party. They're making
really?
They're making a TV series of that.
Who's going to watch that?
That was Who's It For? So if that can happen, are you telling me you don't believe someone's looked at Ultraviolet and gone...
What I don't believe is every few years someone goes, right, Ultraviolet.
Sporadically,
maybe once every 16 years, maybe someone's...
It's only been 20 years or so, isn't it? Right. So the point is, there's been interest.
Okay.
Joe Ahern.
I'll believe you, but yeah.
Joe Ahern has written scripts apparently for an Ultraviolet revival.
I'm not saying Joe's a liar.
Yeah.
But I just.
All right.
Yeah.
You're just dishing out a Joe Ahern. So Joe has written scripts for an Ultraviolet revival. Cut that out.
Definitely keeping it in.
And he has said that he would love to bring back the original cast.
Of course he would.
Bring back Davenport.
Yeah.
Bring back Susanna Harker.
Yeah. I don't think Idris. I just don't think he's
too busy.
He could be James Bond soon.
He's as we know, he's a director, he's an actor, he's a writer, he's a DJ, he's a kickboxer, he's a rapper. But until the series is resurrected, you can watch all 6 original episodes on all 4 if you're in the UK, which is cool. Or you can still track the series down on DVD. Indeed, getting in touch on Facebook, one of our listeners, Matt Dowdle, said of Ultraviolet, great series, far too short. Rewatched it after getting into True Blood due to the crossover cast member, of course being Stephen Moyer. He said, I need to dig out the DVD again for another rewatch. So, Tom, you've had a bit of a taster of Ultraviolet there. What are your thoughts?
Not totally sold on it.
I feel like you're down on it.
I feel like it's that era of the just the 90s in general, especially like British sci-fi, as we touched upon in our Doctor Who fill-ins. They haven't aged that well. As much as I love Crime Traveller, it's not great, is it? Like,
I can't believe you're actually comparing this to Crime Traveller.
Which, I don't know. It doesn't, it's not, I'm not watching that going, yeah, definitely going to sit down and watch all that. I'm sure it's great.
It is great.
Sorry, Joe. But yeah, I'm glad it brought us Jack Davenport and Idris Elba.
Yeah.
But apart from that,
you're not just happy that it exists.
Oh, yeah,
there's a show like that.
Yeah, I'm glad it existed, but
yeah.
I don't think it's got any legacy after that.
Of course
I'm glad it's created 2 Geeks fodder, but
it's perfect 2 Geeks fodder.
Yeah.
It was a hidden gem with a cult following. It's gone on. Yeah, it's gone on the cult.
Has it got a cult following?
Yes. Every few years, Tom.
Someone's saying we need a remake stat.
Every few years.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like Idris said. It's not a cemetery.
Yeah.
It's a prison. I don't know what I'm driving at. I was aiming for something like it can be resurrected, just like vampires can. That's what I'm driving at. That's what I'm driving at.
All right.
So to sum up, Ultraviolet's great.
Okay.
Tom's wrong.
All right.
It's Bram Stoker. So that's it for now. Thanks for listening. For more geek chat, trivia, and booze-filled banter, head to 2geeks2beers.com to hear all 108 of our previous episodes. If you're a horror fan, and after all, it is the season, we've got installments on Halloween and Friday the 13th, Christmas horror movies, and on a bloodsucker slant, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Plus, many more outings covering off classic films, TV shows, and video games.
And please do go follow us on all the socials at 2GeeksCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and yes, even TikTok. You can also find us on YouTube. If you put 2 Geeks, 2 Beers into the search bar, you'll find an archive of episodes, old and new, in full, plus clips and samplers and behind-the-scenes video footage. And thinking about Twitter, you had a bit of a hit the other day, didn't you, on your old... welcome new fans if you followed.
Yeah, I had a properly viral tweet.
Yeah.
Did happen. So if you've followed me and then followed 2 Geeks and listened to us,
welcome. Sorry about this.
Imagine they were like that tweet.
You're not here anymore.
That tweet was funny.
Anyway,
giving up now. Yeah, exactly. Unfollowed. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Podbean, Global Player, and all other good podcast outlets where you can rate and review the podcast. Please do tell all your friends. You can also become a 2 Geeks supporter on Patreon, patreon.com/2geekscast. That's a lot easier to remember when it's written out in front of me. You can sponsor the podcast, helping to fund our recording sessions, our equipment. All your money goes directly back into making the show. Depending on what tier you choose, you get different rewards, including exclusive Patreon-only minisodes, outtakes, personalized thank you videos, merch, including a 2 Geeks mug and t-shirt that you can't get anywhere else, and even a mini episode or full-length episode that's exclusive to you.
And you can also email us podcast@2geeks2beers.com. And that's podcast@2geeks2beers.com. And send us feedback, thoughts, and suggestions for any future episodes.
Yes, please do get in touch and we'll read out our favourite missives in a future episode, like this one from regular listener Stu Mackay. Stu got in touch on Facebook and said, looking forward to your latest episode. Ultraviolet? 2 question marks.
I don't blame him.
Which which I've never heard of, Stu says. He says, genuine question, do you guys...
This made me laugh.
Do you guys consciously choose obscure / little-known subjects, or is it just a coincidence? You don't ever seem to choose popular films or series like Star Wars, Star Trek, or Lord of the Rings, etc., etc., etc. And then he ends with, hashtag, do Baron Munchausen.
No.
Hashtag, do Doom.
Maybe.
Hashtag, justice for the beer mat. Now,
oh yeah, that's my fault.
Yeah. Now, Stu won our review competition months back. He won an official Two Geeks beer mat, which has still not made its way to him. We have had real issues with our supplier, so Stu, apologies. The mythical beer mat is coming. We promise. Yeah. Promise. Stu then sent a follow-up message saying, looking back, you have done quite a few bigger films. Like
it felt bad.
Like literally the next day, I think he got drunk and messaged us, and then. We can all relate.
Yeah.
He messaged us the next day saying, looking back, you have done quite a few bigger films like Bond or Die Hard, and maybe being a little bit niche is your USP. Yeah. So in answer to your messages, Stu, being niche is definitely our USP, though not intentionally. I would say, not always, but often, we do intentionally pick slightly offbeat or more cult series, films and games, mostly because if we did, Star Wars, we've both seen A New Hope. We kind of know it back to front.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be all that interesting for one of us to tell the other one stuff about things he already knows. Yeah. So we each try and pick a subject matter that the other one's not entirely familiar with the hope that the end result is more entertaining to listen to. Is that theory in any way borne out? You be the judge. That's the aim. Oh dear. So
that's funny.
That is another episode wrapped. We'll leave you alone, but let's keep in touch, yeah? So not related to this series, but sharing its title, is the 2006 film Ultraviolet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I thought there was something else.
You're like, I thought that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
Which is set in a future dystopia and stars Mila Jovovich as a woman infected with hemoglophagia, a disease that transforms you into a vampire-like being. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Using advanced martial arts skills, she works to overthrow the government.
What if you tuned into this assuming it was that?
I can only apologize.
Oh, no.
So Empire said of this film, it's only 87 minutes long, but every second of Ultraviolet feels like a month in detention. The Guardian said, tacky, noisy, and fashionably out of focus. It's like being trapped in a L'Oreal hair color commercial with added drums and dismemberment. And Rotten Tomatoes says, an incomprehensible and forgettable sci-fi thriller, Ultraviolet is inept in every regard. So, unlike the TV Ultraviolet, this is very much one to ignore. And yeah, I guess if you tuned in thinking that's what we were going to be talking about, apologies. We haven't gone quite that niche just yet, but check back in a few months and we'll see where we're at.
Yeah, we'll give it 2028.
Yeah. I think you're being optimistic. Maybe like maybe we go like really niche. We go through like the wormhole.
Okay.
Just see where we end up.
Yeah, fuck it. Cheers.